about that. So people are upset about it, and they're going to be marching this Saturday for that and some other reasons. Joining us to talk about that is Elizabeth Williams, the event coordinator for the Tax March Minnesota, which is this Saturday down at the state capitol, 11 a.m. Elizabeth, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
I mentioned tax returns. I think that's kind of the banner issue in what you're doing here. They're not legally required, but now Donald Trump hasn't done it, and people are upset. Talk to me about why you're having the march.
Well, that's the catalyst for this. He said he would, so do it. The reason why we're doing it is, number one, he said he would, and number two, we want to see if he is who he says he is. But on a very local level, we need to shine a light on these money sources, this dark money, so that comes from corporations and from lobbyists to these political campaigns, so we know that the policies that come from the offices of our elected officials are what's best for the people being represented and not for self-interest or special interest.
You know, as somebody who has spent time digging through campaign finance board disclosures and stuff, there's stuff that's easy to trace. I mean, when you give to a candidate, you can see, Joe Blow gave $50 to so-and-so. But when you start dealing with other groups, you start dealing with, Americans United for really good stuff. And you look at, well, who gave to Americans United for really good stuff? You have no idea. You have no idea what they gave and why they gave. I mean, Minnesota has to be one of the worst states for it, according to the Center for Public Integrity, I believe.
Yeah, we were a little surprised to see that too. That we've always thought of it as Minnesota nice, and I talked with some lobbyists that were very surprised because they do have to go through more red tape here than they do in other states. So I can just imagine the report cards that these other states are getting. And you have a lot of PACs and super PACs, and not all of them are bad. It's the dark money portion of it, the part that we can't see, so we don't know the motives behind it. And you get a lot of third-party organizations coming into our state from other states giving money to candidates here. Why are they doing that? They don't know what's best for Minnesotans.
I mean, tell me what you'd like to know.
Why are they funding these candidates?
Yeah, tell me what you'd like to know. When you look at the organizations down there, and I say down there at the state capitol, they're all over the state, but when you take a look at the groups that are doing this, what would you like to know that you're not finding out right now?
Well, the thing is, we just want to be able to trust but verify, right? Mm-hmm. We trust that most politicians or most people that will put themselves through a political campaign are doing it for the good of the people. But we can't verify that. We can't verify that the decisions they make will benefit us versus benefiting their own interests. Maybe it's to places that they owe money to. It's people that have contributed to their campaign, and it would just be a way for us to verify that they're making policies that are best for us, that benefit the voters, the people that actually put them there.
Let me give you a headline here that's straight off the Star Tribune, because I just called it up on my website. And I think this goes kind of to the heart of what you're talking about. It says here, allies reaping benefits with GOP in charge of legislature. Republicans are trying to use their state, House, and Senate majorities to re-engineer Minnesota government in a cheaper, leaner, more business-friendly direction. But their plans also include favorable treatment for insurance, agribusiness, and home builders. So I think what you're saying is, are these folks who are getting benefits that are getting favorable laws passed here, are they the ones that are sending money, and are they the ones that is that the reason? Is it a quid pro quo? Is that sort of what you're talking about here?
Absolutely, that's what we're talking about. We have to be able to see what is there, that we are the ones that are going to benefit from the policies. If the policies that somebody is making are going to benefit somebody else, why is this person elected? If what they do isn't going to be for us. It's just going to be for their contributors. So their contributors will contribute again the next time to keep them in power and keep them all happy. We should be voting for them, but we don't have a way to verify that. We're stuck. We're a little bit in the dark.
I mean, some of this kind of just goes back to basic campaign finance, because when you run a campaign in Minnesota or any place, it costs a lot of money, and it costs even more money when you have outside groups come in and start dumping mailers into your mailbox. And in fact, we've seen in races around here up near St. Cloud, we've had incredibly expensive races, but very little of the money was actually spent by the candidates. It's spent by outside groups coming in, and we have no idea. And the candidates themselves get really upset about this. So, you would think that this would be a bipartisan issue. In fact, when I've spoken to Republicans, Mr. Knobloch, Representative Knobloch, was the one who benefited from this. He said he didn't want this money coming in. So you'd think that this would be a bipartisan issue. Are you getting bipartisan support for let's get this fixed, let's get the dark money out of Minnesota, let's see who is really putting the money into these groups?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay.
We do have Professor Richard Painter speaking at our event on Saturday.
I don't know him.
And he was George Bush's ethics lawyer from 2005 to 2007 in the White House, and he's a law professor here at the U. He's currently involved with a group who is suing the administration over ethics violations. Beyond that, we have sent out invitations to all our elected officials here in Minnesota. Most of the response we have gotten is from Democrats, but we did make an extra effort to try to bring some conservative voices, and we do want that. We want to hear from, like Jim, like you were talking about, we want to hear that he doesn't want that. He doesn't want it, then let's have a law about it.
Yeah, and Mr. Painter,
why isn't it a law then?
Yeah, Professor Painter, I have had on the program. I should walk that back. We did have an interesting conversation just about this particular topic here, so I think people will be interested in hearing him. But I looked at your agenda, and you've got your list of great people on there, but there aren't any Republicans who identify as Republican office holders, I should say, that are on the agenda.
No, we don't have any elected Republicans, though we are still crossing our fingers, and we are actually hoping to get Garofalo. It would be really nice to have somebody off of the tax committee speaking to this and helping us to bridge this really high level of partisanship that's happening not only here but everywhere else. And here in Minnesota we have a very big, I guess, urban-rural divide. And we'd like to try to help facilitate a better relationship, a better bipartisan effort going forward. And if we can do it around this issue, that, like you said, there are Republicans that agree with this and Democrats that agree with us. If we can come together around this issue, then we will form relationships that will allow us to come together around another issue.
Yeah, I was just looking at your
and
list
that's
here.
really the hope.
Yeah, that is the hope, that we can do something. We do have to start agreeing on things, otherwise we don't get anything done. And it's a good place to start, the things that you think that we'd all agree on, and this is one of them. You have a pretty good list here.
And it isn't just Republicans taking advantage of the dark money situation. Democrats do it too. And if we can have policies or laws in place that prevent this from happening, and it will prevent a Republican or a Democrat or an independent from putting us in this position where we don't have a way to verify that we can trust this person.
Yeah, you've got, I was just looking at the list here, you've got Representative Ilhan Omar, Senator John Marty, you have my representative, Lori Halverson from Eagan is going to be there, our state auditor, Rebecca Otto, Representative Paul Thiessen is going to be there, the Minneapolis Mayor Betsy Hodges. So you've got a lot of interesting and dynamic speakers who are going to be up there talking about this. You've even got Representative Betty McCollum who's going to be there. So lots of good speakers on this topic. It will be interesting. I just wonder, as you try to solve a problem like this, you start looking at the Supreme Court ruling on, Citizens United that said money is speech, and therefore it doesn't matter, you can go ahead and spend it. But I think when the Supreme Court passed that, or I shouldn't say passed that, made that ruling, the idea was that there was going to be laws that regulated and put the spotlight on, where the money came from. I think that was part of the ruling. This will happen, and you think that that's why
right.
Republicans and Democrats would want to act on this.
I would think so. That makes complete sense, and yet nothing from either side.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly
cricket.
bills have been proposed, probably by both sides, but have been shut down. And and I think it is. At this point, because of Citizens United, it has to be baby steps, and it has to be the states taking control of that for each individual state. And sometimes when you start that rolling, you can get a lot of states to do that.
Well, let's talk about, as we said, kind of the banner issue, the catalyst on this, which is, of course, Donald Trump, who had promised to release his tax returns and hasn't. Let's talk about why that's important, because don't we learn stuff from the financial disclosure statements that Trump has put out? What are we going to learn from the tax returns that we don't already know?
Well, we can see if he has given to charity as much as he says he has. It presents another opportunity for us to trust him, right? Even though it is going to be some of the similar stuff that's on the disclosure form. But, for instance, we can see if he is the businessman he claims to be. We can see the tax rate that he pays. We can see if he's contributed as much as he says he has to charity. But when you start out by saying, I'm going to release my tax returns, I'm going to release my tax returns, when you don't, and you claim that the public doesn't care, when 64% of the public is saying that they do care, then you're just hiding something.
I think that's really it. You're hiding something. That's what people want to know. They want to know his actual net worth, his real annual income, and how much he does pay in taxes every year, because that's the stuff that we don't get from those financial disclosure things.
Absolutely. And a lot of the reason that he got elected for a lot of people was because they didn't trust their politicians.
Right.
Because they felt like they were in the pocket of their lobbyists. And he's not making that any easier. Because now around that one issue that is what mostly makes people distrust politicians, the money issue, he's already lied.
We're speaking with
He said he would release
Williams.
them, and he isn't.
She's the event coordinator for Tax March Minnesota. I want to cover some of the details of the march, because I know some people may want to go down to this. Is this something that you can just show up for, or do you need to RSVP?
We would love if you would RSVP. It gives us and the St. Paul Police Department a better idea of the attendance level, and it gives us the opportunity, if you do it on the website, which is taxmarchmn.org, if you do it on the website, you put in your email address, and that allows us to be able to tell you maybe updates about, like, if we do get a conservative speaker, or if there's going to be severe weather, we can try to shoot out an email before the event to let people know. But you can just show up.
What kind
There's definitely a public event.
What kind of response have you been getting already? Do you anticipate a large crowd? Or?
We do, and what it seems to be like, as far as like Facebook event pages go, is it's about the number of people that RSVP is about a quarter to an eighth of who shows up. So we are sitting